Hey, what's up you guys? It's me, Eclectic Witch, and I'm here to give you guys another video. If you're new to my channel, feel free to subscribe. This video in particular is all about spell work. So this video is going to be about 15 specific reasons why your spell did not work or manifest. And everything that I talk about in this video, I'm going to have typed up material in the description box below so you guys can refer back to it later, or copy and paste, or write it down, whatever, so you guys can keep it in your own personal grimoires or journals or whatever. So we're just gonna move right into it because it's a lot of reasons and stuff to go over. Like I said, 15. So yes, welcome. 15 reasons why your spell did not work or manifest. So rule number 1: was your spell sabotaged? Perhaps you were planning your spell or casting it and you maintained doubt. You send conflicting energies when you do this, and they cancel each other out. You end up closing yourself off from receiving something. You create walls, and perhaps you don't have the mental discipline enough to keep a positive frame of mind. Another way you could sabotage your spell is just simply obsessing over it after you've already cast the spell. And another way is you also never want to speak specific details to others about your spell or brag about it. It just brings in bad energies. Now, another number 2, did you set adequate parameters for your spell? It pays to set parameters for your spell rather than just leaving things floating out there. Specify that you want it now. You will become closer to your goal if you're specific rather than if you leave it up to chance. This is also the way you resolve those karmic concerns about cheating other people from things. Number 3, did you raise the appropriate energy for your spell towards your goal? The appropriate energy that you raise and release for your spell has to be equal to what you are trying to accomplish. Meaning, the bigger the goal, the more energy the spell will require. The energy that you raise for spells is also emotional energy. When you raise energy, were your emotions and visualizations focused on achieving your goal? As in, are you basking in the afterglow of you getting what you desire? You raise energy as if you have already accomplished your goal. Number 4, you casted the wrong spell. If you cast the wrong spell, you can't expect to achieve the result you wanted. Most effective spells are very, very specific about what they will do. Be sure to choose a spell that fits your situation exactly, or you may be disappointed with the results. Number 5, you waited too long to cast the spell. You may be able to stop a boulder from rolling down a hill if you catch it near the top, but if you try to catch it at the bottom, you may get crushed. Magic works by influencing people and events. The more momentum a decision, a relationship, an event develops, the harder it is to change. So cast your spells as soon as you can. Don't wait till the day before someone's wedding to cast a breakup spell, for an example. Number 6, you did not follow the proper instructions. And this goes for spell work, especially the newbies or the intermediates, for casting spells that have been made by somebody else. Now, this means that you did not follow the proper spell instructions, or you left out certain materials or steps, or substituted other spell materials, and the spell may not work. This is not to say that spell procedures and materials can never be modified. They can be, and the spell will still work. However, experienced practitioners know that if you change a spell, you have no right to complain if it doesn't work. Number 7, you have not waited long enough for the spell to manifest. And I've seen this so often. You know, magic can work quickly, but spells, they take time to manifest your desire. So you have to be patient, give time to allow your magic working to manifest and work. For most spells, I would say 1 lunar cycle, 28.5 days from new moon to new moon, a month, is a reasonable time for your spell to manifest. Number 8, the spell did work, but you did not realize it. And what I mean is, it has manifested, but not in the way that you intended it to. So since spells take some time to work, it's possible that your spell did work, but you didn't realize it. You could also get results from the spell, but since it wasn't what you had intended or initially wanted, you thought your spell didn't work. So an example is, let's say you did a spell to attract a lover, but you meant it for a specific person. So naturally you would think it wouldn't work because it wasn't who you wanted. But however, the spell did work because it made another student or a peer, coworker, whatever, attracted to you. Number 9, your goal was outside your sphere of availability at the time that you casted the spell. So this means that that's not to say that you shouldn't have ambitious or even seemingly impossible goals, but you have to expand your sphere of availability at one step at a time. So an example of this is you want to get wealthy, so you should cast a spell on getting a better job. And after you achieve that, you choose another more ambitious goal for your next spell. And as you keep going up and up the ladder, eventually wealth will be within your sphere. Number 10, have you obtained a good base of education? To properly cast spells, it's important to understand what you're doing. If you haven't studied the basic theory, how do you know if the spell itself isn't a good one? How do you know if it isn't the fundamental mistakes? How do you know if it's if you don't know what's really meant by raising or releasing energy, then the results can be really, really iffy. So make sure that before you're performing any type of spell work, especially newbies, that you have a good basis idea of how, energy work and spells and manifestation, how to go about it. So number 11, have you obtained the mental discipline necessary for your spell? The most important tool in spell work is the mind. The more that you hone this tool, your mind, the better your results will be. A lot of people don't like meditating. They say they can't sit still, they can't focus, whatever it may be, but how do you expect to put the appropriate focus into a spell? If this is your issue, I highly suggest you going back to review meditation fundamentals and practice other mental discipline exercises, because you can do it. It's just you have to train your mind to be able to be positive and to stay focused and concentrated and all those things. Number 12, are you asking or are you telling? When you're working with spells, you are working with energy. The energy you are working with does not take things personally. If you, it doesn't care if you want the stuff. Don't think you're greedy. You have to be very direct about what you want in a statement. Okay? Number 13, was your goal realistic and specific enough? Just because magic is real doesn't mean everything is within the realm of possibility. Everything is real, but it also has its limits. Magic is no exception. There is improbable, and then there's outright impossible. If you cast a spell for money to come to you, and you find $1, guess what? The spell worked. Maybe not as you have intended. Magic takes the path of least resistance, so you have to be very specific about what you want to happen. Number 14, if you invoke for help, should you expect it? And this means occasionally they like to mix prayers with spells, or they like to invoke the help of a deity or some type of other entity. And the rule of thumb with this is that that's okay, but if you don't have a relationship with whomever or whatever you are invoking, it is considered a favor, and don't be surprised if it gets turned down. So if you are trying to work with a specific deity or an archangel or another entity of that sort, make sure that if you're doing spell work that you've already tried to make the steps to gaining that relationship and in other ways before you decide to ask favors or them to help you with something. And that works with fae and other things to work. Now, this is the last step. and probably one of the most important ones, was your language, your words within your spell, clear, positive, and active? Clear language falls right in with specific goals. An example is, I light this flame for John's blood to decline a healthy range. Language also needs to be positive and active for your spell to work. So when you're casting spells, don't use words like can't, won't, don't. Try to phrase everything as an affirmation, like this well, or I am, this, like try to say it as a direct, firm, active statement, and using forceful language, not necessarily cursing, but just be very direct with what you're saying. Clear, pronounced, precise. Because even if you are doing a spell working for hexing or banishing or anything like that, you want to make sure it's very precise with what you're saying. So those are 15 reasons why your spell did not work. Feel free to review the video if you want the in-depth explanation of all these reasons. I'm going to leave all of what I mentioned in the description box of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and blessed be.